Hello and welcome to a Forest Alliance Forever Laddercast. This is JaggedAppliance versus Blodir on Forbidden Pass. Let's get right into it. Hope you're all staying safe out there. Blodir on the top right corner with blue Seraphim. JaggedAppliance on the bottom left corner with red UEF. Now, Blodir does have the floating Artie available to him. He's been playing a lot of Seraphim recently, actually, and reaping all the benefits therein. We know that Seraphim does have floating artillery, which does come in handy when there's water. He can sort of cross over to some of these important points without much resistance, but we'll see how much he'll use it this game. Maybe he'll use it a lot, maybe he won't. We'll see. JaggedAppliance going for some early reclaim with his NGs. This is energy reclaim. One engineer building a mechs. He's gonna head over to the forest later on to get more energy reclaim. Just the ACU building initially. Gonna build 6 PGens in an air factory. That's fewer PGens than you would normally see, folks. But usually this sort of build is commonly seen when you have energy reclaim at the start. So Forbidden Pass, other maps like Loki where there's some forest reclaim, you'll have fewer PGens before your air factory is complete. Blodir building 6 PGens before his air factory as well. And of course he's getting the requisite energy reclaim. Both players branching out with their engineers early on. Tank on either side, doing reconnaissance, heading out on their journey. It looks like JaggedAppliance is eyeing this expansion with his early tank, hoping to cross paths with Blodir's expanding engineer. And over here on Blodir's side, this tank is being used more as a deterrent in case JaggedAppliance has some early raid planned. This tank is there to shield this engineer from assault. Looks like JaggedAppliance's tank might end up being a little bit more useful, as we can see this top engineer heading towards more and more dangerous territory. That said, it does look like he's going to edge build here. If JaggedAppliance leaves his tank there, it's possible that Blodir's engineer will remain safe. 2 land factories in Jagged's core base, 3 for Blodir, so mobilizing his land army a little bit more quickly than JaggedAppliance, and in fact some tanks on the way for Blodir, a little bit behind this engineer, but they're about to catch up now, and soon this tank from JaggedAppliance will lose its threatening aura here as it approaches this expansion. Sorry, I struggled with the words there for a second, as you might have noticed. Anyway, now this ACU on its way towards the middle expansion, almost mirroring Blodir's movement. Blodir on his way as well. So far, both players relatively okay. So JaggedAppliance is maneuvering his tank to maybe get a good shot at this engineer, but so far no luck. He's not able to shoot the engineer at the bottom of the cliff. Now he's getting a better angle, and ooh, it's a little too late. A few seconds earlier, and JaggedAppliance might have denied Blodir this factory for a couple minutes even. Some air engagement happening over here at the south side of the map. JaggedAppliance getting the upper hand. He does manage to drop a couple of engineers, but a bomber is also on the way. JaggedAppliance hopefully catches wind of that soon. He does, takes down that bomber, but not before it takes out one engineer. So a single engineer now tasked with building this entire expansion. So it does delay JaggedAppliance a little bit, but one engineer is certainly better than none. Blodir well on his way to developing the northern expansion. He has a land factory there already, so this top expansion is going to be a little bit more stable. Now, JaggedAppliance did win air earlier, as we saw on the south side, and that's going to bring Blodir some troubles as he tries to maneuver about the map. Although the interceptors just passed this transport, is giving Blodir kind of a free ticket to this bottom right expansion, and it looks like that was ultimately his goal. So even without the air victory, Blodir manages to take all the necessary expansions for his starting location. JaggedAppliance manages to erect the point defense, but no walls, makes it very vulnerable to any sort of ground attack. Can it withstand this small squad of tanks? No. Blodir succeeds in taking out that point defense, and that's going to be a little concerning. Blodir able to expand to every corner and denying JaggedAppliance's top left, but here comes a counter from JaggedAppliance, 5 tanks versus 3. Blodir is quickly mobilizing his reinforcements, so these 4 tanks might not be able to do too much damage, but, well, yeah, this is going to be a short-lived raid. Let's see if he's able to take out 1 or 2 mexes at least. Over here on the left side, Blodir advancing with his ACU, kind of putting a chokehold on this parcel of land. And it's going to make it difficult for JaggedAppliance to expand to the left side. And we can see at the north end of the map, Jagged's raid ultimately failing, leaving quite a bit of reclaim for Blodir to recover. JaggedAppliance still has air superiority, though so far he hasn't been able to reap the benefits of having the advantage in the skies. Now Blodir appears he is abusing the Zoes to their full potential. Here they come in a big old line down to JaggedAppliance's Hydro expansion. And once Jagged catches wind, I think we'll see some troop movement towards the Phobos here. But so far, okay, here we go. JaggedAppliance has sensed the landing from the Phobos, and he's moving all of his army towards that direction to prevent any damage, but it looks like he's going to lose 1 mex at least. The line has been cut off. The Phobo line has been cut off. Blodir has changed plans very quickly. Now, JaggedAppliance does have 2 Tech 2 mexes now. Let's keep an eye on the mass income here. 49 to 55. While Jagged still hasn't really gotten all the mexes on his side. He's been diligent about upgrading his mass extractors, while on the other hand, Blodir seems to be concentrating a lot of his efforts on gaining map control. If Jagged is able to stabilize these aggressive maneuvers from Blodir, he might end up having a solid lead here. We can already see by this score that it kind of tells part of the story here. JaggedAppliance with air superiority still, and he's collected just a little bit more mass, I think, overall, over Blodir. So Blodir making a move over here on the south side of the map, all at the same time as this middle engagement. This is going to be a big mass chunk going into Blodir's coffers. And on the top left side, JaggedAppliance manages to build another point defense there, which may allow him to keep this expansion relatively safe for now. Not much troop movement over here on the top left side. Let's see how JaggedAppliance is counterattacking on the right side, but will be short-lived. Just not enough tanks there on the right. On the bottom side, however, Blodir he's really doing a lot of damage here to JaggedAppliance. There's really nothing to clean up this small army from Blodir, and JaggedAppliance really outmanned here on the south side, and that's going to be a big thorn in his side. He's got to deal with this quick. Another counter from JaggedAppliance, but again, not really doing the damage that Jagged had been hoping for. Instead, leaving some mass for Blodir to take, and JaggedAppliance moving up with his ACU to maybe go head-to-head with Blodir, perhaps hoping to slow Blodir's advance. But that leaves his middle expansion vulnerable, and Blodir takes full advantage. As we can see, a small army of tanks from Blodir wiping out Jagged's land factories and mexes, though they don't have air coverage, so this army might take a lot of beating from this bomber before they move on out, and Blodir is able to clean up that bomber. But JaggedAppliance's ACU now returning to that middle expansion, so he won't be out of these mexes for too long. In that small span of time, Blodir has regained the score lead, as we can see, though both have accumulated almost equal amounts of mass still. Blodir has gained some ground in several areas. It looks like he's doing really good for himself in terms of air, and also he has accumulated a very strong land presence over here at the bottom. And this is something of a side effect from JaggedAppliance upgrading so many mexes. He did have to forego some land production, which unfortunately left his south side lacking of reinforcements, and Blodir really milking that for all of its worth. He definitely likely sensed Jagged's economic ambitions, and well, the trajectory Blodir was headed kind of looks like he wanted to be pretty aggressive early on, so surely he was pleased to see JaggedAppliance spending resources upgrading mexes instead of defending his territory. So right now, Blodir sitting pretty, I should say, with his map control, and this drop from JaggedAppliance not going to be too effective here. The land presence from Blodir is simply too strong, and misguided assault from Blodir on the top left side. JaggedAppliance easily defending against that jab from Blodir, really. And JaggedAppliance is going to be able to take a lot of reclaim out of it. Some advancing from Blodir and a retreat subsequently from this small army. Blodir is really having to rethink his moves up here on the top left. Things not going as smoothly as it was for him over here on the bottom side. And as JaggedAppliance starts transitioning to Tech 2 land, Blodir sort of faced with having to eco himself. Well, he's actually well on his way. He has a Tech 2 land factory, Tech 2 air factory, 4 Tech 2 mexes, so he's been transitioning already. He's not going to be going Tech 1 land for all this time. No, he's definitely been thinking about transitioning since a while ago. But now on the top corner, JaggedAppliance with a numbers advantage with his army counters. He smells the weakness, or he senses the weakness over here from Blodir, and very quickly reacts to what he sees, going for this top expansion, which he's been eyeing for quite a while. But this time, more than ever, Blodir is vulnerable to such a raid. JaggedAppliance does manage to only take out 2 mexes, it looks like, and a big skirmish over here in the middle between the two. And JaggedAppliance has a couple, or a few mongoose attached, which makes it very difficult for Blodir's Tech 1 army to repel this group here. And, well, JaggedAppliance looks like got a pretty major victory here, and with that he might have enough firepower to take out this expansion of Blodir, and Blodir doesn't have his ACU there anymore. Not to mention on the bottom right corner, again, Tech 2 land army faced head-to-head against a Tech 1 army, so JaggedAppliance, it looks like we'll get the upper hand here in the south as well. Blodir with some Nothas, and Blodir has a huge air lead now, which means that these Nothas might be very effective in repelling this assault from JaggedAppliance. A flak is on the way, a little too late though, I think. These Nothas are starting to take their toll. Not to mention, Blodir has a couple Ilshavo to shield this expansion, and the Ilshis are pretty hardy. They have a lot of HP, and in addition to these Nothas, I think Blodir has really, he's managed to come up with a sound defense against this incursion from JaggedAppliance. And that's a little bit a different outcome from what I expected just seconds earlier. And Blodir, now it looks like JaggedAppliance will succeed in taking this bottom expansion back. He's been really hurting for this bottom expansion for a long time, constantly dropping engineers, constantly being denied by Blodir this bottom expansion. But at last he has Tech 2 presence there, engineers at the ready, and nothing from Blodir to threaten this bottom expansion. Blodir has been spending, it's definitely clear, there's been a shift of energy towards the maybe upper middle portion of the map. Blodir spending more of his resources on defending this middle expansion. Now his ACU isn't present at the moment, it's kind of just sitting there in the water, but we'll see if he ultimately decides to use his ACU as an extra resource, and we know that ACUs are a powerful resource on the battlefield, so unless Blodir feels very confident in this and stabilizing this middle, I think we could expect to see this ACU being used soon. Now, speaking of stability, it looks like Blodir has gained a pretty safe lead with his mass income. So throughout all this, he's been slowly accumulating Tech 2 mexes, and we can see that 83 over 63, now 71. That's a pretty substantial mass lead, mass income lead over JaggedAppliance, and with Blodir having air superiority now, and JaggedAppliance struggling to regain map control, this might be sort of the point where Blodir sort of starts snowballing. I should say Blodir's advantage. However, it seems like JaggedAppliance going for a last-ditch effort to take this middle expansion. We can all see that both. It's just me, folks. We can all see here that JaggedAppliance running out of options. He's forced to use his commander, and he knows that without taking this expansion, he's gonna be way too far behind this game. And so here we go. Can he break this barrier from Blodir? There's a Tech 2 point defense as well, forming Blodir's bulwark, and it has 100 HP left. Can he take out this point defense? Finally, he overcharges that point defense. Looks like JaggedAppliance has conserved most of his army, which might allow him to take back this expansion. And especially with his ACU in the mix, it looks like he's got a pretty secure lead here, over here in the middle. Blodir, some air movement here. He's bringing in some gunships, but JaggedAppliance has plenty of flak to deal with any sort of gunship snipe. Here he comes with his ACU. Is he going to wipe out all of this? All of this from Blodir and take back all the reclaim? A lot of flak producing at this Tech 2 land factory. Nothing to defend against these Yenzines. Over here on the bottom right, though, it looks pretty safe for JaggedAppliance. He's keeping this southern expansion stable. And once JaggedAppliance takes this middle expansion, we can expect to see maybe some further movement up here on the left side. And JaggedAppliance might be able to take back some map control. In terms of mass income, still JaggedAppliance struggling to keep up with Blodir. But first things first, let's take back map control. And that's definitely on JaggedAppliance's agenda. Blodir heading upwards with his ACU. We saw that he was upgrading his gun. Can get a little dangerous even with a gun upgrade against this many Tech 2 units. So Blodir has to be careful here. He is hugging the shore, though. He's keeping his ACU relatively safe. But oh no, Blodir has to start moving his ACU. He's got to move. He's not paying attention. He's losing. Oh no, it's a little too late now. Oh man, that's a simple mistake from Blodir, and his ACU goes up in flames in a brilliant explosion. Kind of an untimely loss for Blodir. That was not the way he wanted to go, surely. And that is not the way JaggedAppliance expected to win this game. In fact, I think Jagged might have sensed a long uphill battle, but with taking this middle expansion, Jagged was poised to maybe get back into the economy game and go toe-to-toe with Blodir and getting a sizable mass income. But Blodir losing this middle was pretty big. It was a pretty big loss for him, and I think that loss really maybe stressed him out a little bit. maybe made him a little worried about the outcome, so he utilized his ACU to kind of slow Jagged's advance down. But we saw that Blodir probably focusing a lot of his APM all over the map. He just for a few seconds wasn't putting focus into his ACU while JaggedAppliance was, and JaggedAppliance really took advantage of that brief lapse of Blodir and lapse in attention from Blodir and took out his ACU. So well played by JaggedAppliance, paying attention to his army, Blodir's ACU movement, and making that move when it counted. And that it could have been a longer game, and JaggedAppliance might have come back actually, but the outcome was still yet to be seen. But with Blodir making that mistake, we have a quick victory from JaggedAppliance. So well played by both players, and thanks for watching, and stay safe. We'll see you in the next cast.